Warning, the following video will contain spoilers for an episode of Miraculous Ladybug Season 2. If you want my recommendation, watch the episode I am watching before continuing on with this video. But if you don't care about spoilers, then just sit back and enjoy. I'm back. Unfortunately. Dude. You okay?
Oh, I'm just peachy.
Okay. Guess I don't have to schedule an appointment with your therapist.
Are you unable to read sarcasm? I've had enough pain going through the single turret in a mountain of gold, but then I find out that my therapist was Cinder, who heard what I said about her and was about to incinerate me until—
It was just a nightmare, dude. Nothing to worry about. Yeah, it's a perfect thing to say to somebody who went through 2 years worth of therapy in 5 days and took a trip to Finland only for the progress to revert when I got back.
I would have gone to Paris if I were you.
What was that? Trust me, man, I do feel for you. But none of that happened. You're still alive. Still felt real, man. Like, I just had this feeling that somebody was pulling the strings just to tell me to give up and shut up. Like, you knew what happened, right? She heard what I said about her in my Gigantitan review and held that against me! Maybe she was trying to tell you that your own words and actions have consequences. Oh god, is this about Rita again? Dude, one of your viewers had the right idea. If you truly know the dangers, you wouldn't have treated Rita as if she was a threat. If you knew the dangers, you wouldn't have invented Rita to begin with. Artificial intelligence like her, or even synthetic intelligence, has never been useful to us. Ever. It's only served as a disaster waiting to happen. And the fact that you chose to create one in spite of this tells me all I need to know. What happened to taking responsibility? Oh, don't give me any of that. I might have taken the blame a while ago, but now I'm saying it as it is. It's all her fault. Karma doesn't exist. I mean, what's going to happen? A flying chainsaw's going to come at my face again? I need to learn to shut up sometimes.
You know what? This chainsaw is more trouble than it's worth. I'm just gonna avoid its existence. Bye-bye, chainsaw.
You can do that?
Yep.
Well, hello, Alius.
Why, hello. Who are you exactly?
Alias, this is music critic, an alternate personality of mine who's probably going to be the death of me. I don't get any respect from him.
Okay. Austin, I think you need some help.
No kidding.
Are you okay? You're looking kinda sapped of all will to live.
Well, quite a lot has happened. For one, the duo now know where I live. For another...
Uh-huh. Well, personally, I don't think you should have had that box in the first place. But I'm not about to leave you like this.
But wait, there's more. We managed to find these heads outside our doorstep and we have no idea who made them. Did you or Sue make them?
We certainly did not. Okay, why don't I stick around until we get to the bottom of this?
You do that for me?
Of course! What are friends for? What were you doing before I showed up?
Trying to recover from a nightmare therapy session that almost ended with me turning into roasted human and frightening Gail's existence.
Okay. Why don't we try and get your mind on something else? What were you planning on reviewing next?
Troublemaker.
Great. Let's do that. And then once your nerves are a bit more settled, we can talk about what's been going on.
Alright. You know, it's been a while since we talked. What happened to your sisters?
They quit the Void session.
Wait, what?
Basically, they went to live normal, healthy lives outside.
You got all that, Rita?
Hey everybody, Alius is back!
Kept you waiting, huh? Hello everybody and welcome back to my Miraculous Marathon. After so long, I'm finally back. So let's pick up where we left off, shall we? So Frightening Gale. Yeah, after all that pain and contracting a case of diabetes, trying to numb the misery.
Let me make a note. Put Austin on a cherry Coke detox.
And after a nightmare that I'd rather not talk about, it brings me great joy to see Alius again. Hopefully oblivious to some statements that I've made.
What statement?
Don't ask. And this next episode could bring me a bit of comfort to purge the people are blind crap out of my mind, even though I had, what, 2 years to do so? At least? Whatever. I kept you guys waiting long enough, so let's have a look at episode 16, Troublemaker. How do you detox from cherry Coke?
This episode follows Penny in her nigh impossible job as Jagged Stone's assistant. We see the myriad of things she coordinates and the full extent of how much she's taken for granted.
Seriously, I couldn't imagine having a job like Penny's without shattering under the pressure, because the amount of stuff going on would rival Uncut Gems. And the actual requests are just ridiculous.
Mr. Stone would like his breakfast brought to him on the back of a polar bear.
Oh yes, and while we're at it, I'll arrange for his taxi to be pulled by unicorns and his driver to be a professionally trained narwhal. Or maybe a group of them to remind him how much of a blessing he is to this earth. And as this crocodile polar bear nonsense is going on, Bob, still the manager of Jagged Stone after guitar villain Roth, is trying to get him on a reality show.
You want me to be a guest on Rocco Wants a Wife?
Okay, I think now's a good time to mention that with the advent of Season 4, a lot of this stuff has aged like milk.
I love how they're having an argument with soccer balls as weapons. It really adds to the ambiance of the entire scene.
I mean, who knows? Maybe it's secretly foreshadowing an unimportant all-around mess of an episode. I missed the chainsaw already. And just to make them stop the soccer match of the century, Penny gives Jagged a great idea.
Penny, you're the best. What would I do without you?
I don't know, be a father? And the idea is a show called...
Fill my shoes!
I filled mine up with nachos and cheese dip. Want some?
Note that we need to work on how in touch he is with reality.
Meh, your loss.
There may be a connection between his mental distress and his diet.
Okay, he's really filling the shoes of a baker, namely Tom from the Dupenchang Bakery, because what other bakery could we go with? We need a story, damn it!
So, it goes about as well as a Ninja Turtle in a bakery, and Penny is clearly a nervous wreck since this was her idea and it cannot go wrong.
Who wants to bet it goes wrong?
You've got pretty good odds with this one. Also, Austin tends to focus on negative outcomes.
Guilty.
Also, not gonna lie, this bread guitar looks pretty awesome and kinda leaves me wanting a Breadville. I need to stop wanting.
He sees his own wants as inherently problematic.
Flour, eggs, and butter.
Wait a minute, that's just smoke on the water! How did they get away with that? Don't call your lawyers, you'll make the children cry. Okay, we need to move on. Could something problematic happen?
Maybe addicted to unhealthy emotions?
Alright, finally! Thank you, Miss Walking Disaster! He now looks like an escapee from a Coke factory. I mean, look at him. He thinks he's a ghost now. Someone check him into rehab and family counseling.
On a positive note, open to forms of intervention when issues become clear.
So after that mistake from this mistake, they cut filming and try to head to the restroom upstairs. But rather than upstairs, like, you know, above the kitchen, they take it as upstairs to Marinette's freaking room, with a screenshot of the gamer as her wallpaper instead of her typical dream collage.
Okay, I don't know if her computer screen was just laziness by the animation team, or if they're saying that Marinette recorded the two of them while they were playing the game and actually watched the recording at some point. Like, I'm usually Team Marinette, but that's not okay.
Well, if it gives me an excuse to cut DQ some slack and another chance to dunk on Marinette, then our freaking hero, ladies and gentlemen, recording her crush while he's in her room just to ogle at him without him ever knowing. And speaking of him not knowing, the camera crew ends up following the two to Marinette's room and catch all the numerous photos of Adrian on her wall. And did we mention that Adrian's watching?
Looky there, another secret admirer.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Looky there, another secret admirer.
No, she's not. Marinette's just a friend.
What are you, f***ing stupid?
So Marinette barges in to boot everyone out, and that's when the anxiety train starts rolling in again. Get it? For Penny. Disconnected cable, a disgruntled walking mess, make that two, Jagged being allergic to non-organic flour. What? Yeah, I ended up looking this up, and a non-organic flour allergy doesn't really exist unless it was some sort of wheat allergy or celiac disease, which doesn't really make a distinction between organic and non-organic food. And eventually Penny reaches a boiling point, kicking everyone out except Marinette, who wallows in her own regret, with Tiki being an enemy to the word help.
Besides, it's too late anyway. The show's live.
Okay, it's no big deal is one thing, now you're just being freaking sadistic! And Penny just breaks down from the pressure, leaving Hawkmoth a great opportunity to send in Akuma to make her his next minion. Like I said, the patience Penny had to put up with this for as long as she did, I'm not sure if I would have lasted this long. Let's just cut to the villain. So the Akuma possesses the pen and turns her into Troublemaker, a punk rock chick who uses her pen of tangibility to cause mischief for the crew for the rest of their life. That was the fastest I ever summarized a villain right there. But being honest, I really like this villain. I mean, on the surface, the ability to switch between Solid to a more believable not Ghost than Clovis is kinda lame, and all she really does is, well, be a troublemaker. She's just causing mischief.
I demand an apology!
Note to self, avoid Sabine. She will not be merciful.
I'm surprised she didn't just hit him over the head with that.
She's just causing mischief for the crew, and even Jagged for some weird reason. I wouldn't say she's that scary or intimidating, even if the people outside think otherwise. Oh no, it's an Akuma who isn't going to attack us, but we should run anyway! I mean, the worst she does to this crew is kick Jagged down and...
I only love chaos, and you'll be my #1 hit.
Tell him a threat phrased like a pickup line? What? But what really sold me on her, apart from her design, which is pretty awesome, is when the duo shows up to put a stop to her. And she does not hold back. This is easily the highlight of the episode. Just watching the heroes try to lay a finger or a yo-yo on Troublemaker, her using her powers to throw them off, the numerous close calls with Troublemaker getting the Miraculous, grab the other one, grab the other one!
Certainly not how I dreamed we'd share our secret identity.
Okay, between that and the rhyme Alec made earlier, I swear this episode's trying to get me to drink heavily again. It's just thrilling to watch, and I've got nothing else to comment on, other than Cat Noir looking at the Adrian photos, and the numerous references to touching, which...
She can't be untouchable.
I can't touch her with a 10-foot pole.
In order to be able to touch us, she must become touchable herself.
Touch me if you dare.
Okay, can we just not with this? I swear, if one more person makes a reference to touching, I'm gonna have to get the whistle out.
That's a pitch pipe.
But, yeah, I've got nothing else to comment on. Alius, would you like to take the wheel?
Often responds like there is imminent danger. Oh, yeah. This might be one of the best choreographed fights in the show. I find it really interesting how they make close-quarter fights more suspenseful than some of the larger-scale ones. I really get a sense of how fast the characters are moving and how little space they have. The fact that everyone's so close together makes the scenes flow a lot more down to the wire. Like, you get a sense that everyone is actually facing a challenge and the villain has the upper hand. On top of all of that, there's this level of emotional tension that gives our heroes' actions more purpose. Ladybug reacts faster and less accurately because she's in her house and still dealing with the embarrassment of having some of her innermost feelings broadcast on live TV. Cat Noir is slowed down a bit, but at the same time moves with more thought as he tries to process how someone he knows might feel about him. It's all really well layered and tied together, and is one of the prime examples of what this show can actually do when the creative team puts their mind to it. Austin?
I am seriously impressed that they managed to cram this onto a Switch.
Often gets distracted.
Anyways, Ladybug uses her lucky charm, and what does she summon this time?
A broken plate?
Okay, when your lucky charm is broken, that's when you know it's time to give up. Please.
Gives up easily.
Wait, what? And speaking of broken, there is a bit of a scare that Troublemaker removing one earring weakened her powers, but it's later shown to be working, so that happened. They make it back to Marinette's room with Ladybug cowering in fear, and Cat Noir abandoning her like the protective and responsible partner that he is.
I only have a plate to defend myself!
Oh, come on, you should at least have a spare cabbage in a pillowcase. Or a plastic bag, like Mr. Cabbage Sack over here.
Becomes unusually attached to inanimate objects.
Suddenly Troublemaker, who tries to take Ladybug's earrings again, but they're glued to her and now she's stuck to her.
Sorry to disappoint, but I'm the only one to stick to m'lady.
That felt way more wrong than I think he was intending. He destroys the pen, releasing the Akuma and Penny from the glue. Insert status quo you seen here, turn everything back to normal, and then fist bump.
Looks like you won't find out my true identity today.
I said fist bump!
Pound it!
There we go! Another day, another attack, another victory for the Miraculous duo, and another remnant of Fighting Gale that just couldn't help but stick around and pierce me in the spine. Okay, Penny and Jagged Stone, that's adorable! Oh wait, no it isn't! Thank you Season 4 for ruining everything for me! Just somebody give me a cherry coke! So we cut to the next day, with Solid Marinette trying to sneak to her locker without being detected by any of the students. Especially Adrian! Is this going to be a thing with him? He's just going to hide behind the locker to give Marinette a big surprise? Like, he has to know what he's doing given everything that he's done. And especially given this line.
Are you lying?
She has! She always freaking has! Okay, it was just a tease. He's here to tell Marinette that he's used to other people having tons of photos of him in unexpected places. Kinda sad now that I said that out loud. And he even invites her to a photo shoot since she's into fashion, which we probably won't see until a later episode. And when the bell rings, he reassures her with,
I'm glad to have you as one of my fans.
oh my god, somebody give this kid a brain. Though, like I said in the nutshell video, it probably wouldn't have been any better if Marinette just flat out stated,
I'm just obsessed with you.
So that was Troublemaker. How's it hold up? Yeah, it was really fun. I find Penny a sympathetic character, trying to coordinate a bunch of different things going on at once and not being able to handle all of the pressure. And while Troublemaker isn't necessarily that big of a threat to everyone outside of the crew, I absolutely love how ruthless and merciless she is. No secondary goals, no ultimatums, just go right at the duo to give Hawkmoth what he wants, and I love it. In fact, I feel like the action alone carries the episode on its back, because the rest of the episode is kind of filler in terms of story. I mean, it's kind of funny, and I'm glad the animation from DQ looks better than in Frightening Gale, but apart from the ending in which the relationship gets a mild nudge of development, there really isn't a lot to note here. Maybe aside from the relationship between Penny and Jagged, which, after Season 4, Alius, you want to take the wheel from here?
grab your popcorn.
If you insist.
This episode feels very natural, at least for this series. Like, you get the sense that all the characters respond in the way that they would naturally respond, given the situation they're in. It's not perfect, but it's less ham-fisted than other episodes, and because it mostly takes place in a smaller space with smaller stakes, you actually relate to the characters more. It's like the creative team narrowed their scope with this episode and got to focus on someone we don't usually focus on, as well as create a lot of tension in a relatively small story compared to other stories that the show tries to tell.
Speaking of small,
the episode mostly takes place inside Marinette's house instead of multiple locations, or just a larger, more open space. The challenge that this would create is the characters moving in a way that is awkward, or in a way that doesn't fit their environment, but I think DQ handled that excellently. You can really feel the intention and impact of just about every movement the characters make, even in the slower-paced scenes. The smaller space actually works to the story's advantage, allowing Troublemaker to exercise full use of her power and making Ladybug and Cat Noir's jobs a lot harder. Every camera angle feels like it has a purpose, and it all flows together really well. Okay, so the subtext with Penny and Jagged when I was first watching this was like, aww, but now I'm like, she's like at least a decade younger than him, and there's a very obvious power imbalance between the two. She kinda disappears in later seasons as well. What makes things really complicated is he has kids, and I don't think she knows, or if she does know, that adds a whole nother layer of problematic to this. Like, is she influencing his decision to stay away from his family? Does she just not know and is being strung along? Like, when I first saw this, I was hoping they would go somewhere with it, but now it's kinda obvious the only places to go with it would delve into issues that you cannot properly explain in a kid's show. Maybe like a soap opera, but not a superhero show for ages 7 and up. This might be one of the most underrated Lady Noir episodes. Even though they don't get as much screen time as they do in other episodes, this is one of the few places where they seem to work really well together under pressure without getting into a fight or things getting overly cheesy. Nothing dramatic happens, but we get to see their dynamic as partners, and I'm really glad the showrunners didn't turn this into the extremely awkward fight that it could have been written as, given how embarrassed the two of them were before the fight started. I wouldn't really call this show filler. This whole series is a marathon, not a sprint. Someone learned something new in this episode, and although he didn't make the conclusion we wanted him to make with that information, something new was learned, and the dynamic between our leads did develop, just in a very
small way.
This is an episode where a few things happen, and it's meant to be part of the overall picture. Could more have happened in this episode? Absolutely, but it didn't really set out to be a game changer or even one of the best episodes out there. This is an episode that accomplished what it set out to. It didn't do anything particularly spectacular, but it held its ground and gave us something that an episode with a different villain or plot couldn't have given us. I liked it, and I feel like it more than earned its spot as one of the more solid episodes the show has to offer.
Wow. I mean, why don't I give the show to her? She's far more expertise at giving her opinion than I am giving mine. Anyways, while it isn't the most special thing in the world, I could call Troublemaker a harmless episode with an action sequence that effortlessly carries it on its back. I had fun watching this episode, and after the last one that I covered, it's really all I needed. Okay. I'm feeling better now. Still in pain, but better overall.
Great! Now, let's talk about this alternate personality thing that's going on.
Oh, yeah. Well, you see, music critic... Wait, what's going on?
Artificial intelligence like her, or even synthetic intelligence, has never been useful to us. Ever. Artificial intelligence is the worst thing in the world, and I hate it.
That thing's an artificial intelligence! The mere thought of that just screams, hey, how can we screw over all of humanity?
Did you really say all those things?
Yeah, I said all that, but listen, it wasn't to you. Music critics
And here I was all ready to help you with your problems, but I was never even a friend in your eyes, was I, Austin?
You were a friend! You honest to God were! Just please don't void my watch or my existence away!
What? No, I don't have the power to void the existence of three-dimensional objects.
Oh. Thank goodness. You know, for a second I thought—
But don't think that just because I can't snap you out of existence that we're somehow friends after what you said. When you're ready to apologize, you know where to find me!
Look, I didn't mean any of that to you. You were the exception. I even said that I missed you in my Robotics review. Alius, wait!
Austin, what happened?
Where's Alius? Thank you, Alius, for coming back, and sorry for taking such a long time. If you like this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Support me on Patreon. Check out my social media for more ASLB. Have a great life, stay miraculous, and see ya.
Stick in time!
Seriously?